Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Discard Dead, where we like to open boosters, boxes and decks of out-of-print trading card games. The Bleach card game pits the characters of the Bleach manga and anime against each other in battle. Recreate the tense battle between Ichigo and Grand Fisher, or maybe see if Kon could beat Chad. Now draw your Zanpakuto and get ready to fight. There are a few different types of cards available to build a deck with, and we'll have a look at them right now. First are the Guardian cards. We have the card name above, the Guardian character's portrayal in the middle, and any card effects below that. In the top right hand corner is our life force. If it runs out, we're defeated. On the left here is how much energy your Guardian has. This determines your side deck and what energy cards you must have, which we'll look at later. Before we look at the rest, there are two details that are shared among them: cost and boost. A card's cost is on the leftmost edge and shows how many of each type of energy must be depleted in order to play it. A card's boost value is used during a battle between character cards. Cards can be discarded from your hand to enhance a character if that stat is being used in battle, which I'll explain a little later. Also, a card's type is printed at the bottom of the text box to remind you what kind of card it is. Now we move to character cards, grey bordered, portraying major and supporting characters. Each character card has a series of statistic scores which are used in battle. The text box features any special abilities or effects, if any, and any of the character's traits are listed here. Traits are keywords that certain card effects look for when targeting or resolving. Red bordered item cards are enhancements to equipped character cards, and can either enhance a stat, a special effect, or even both. They can range from tools or armor to the mighty Zanpakuto, a Soul Reaper's faithful weapon. Green bordered and horizontally aligned battlegrounds portray locations from the series and can provide bonuses to certain characters or characters with a particular trait. The Schoolground Battleground, for example, provides a stat bonus to Hollows. And finally, the blue bordered event cards represent plot twists or surprises that can help you or hinder your opponent. As I briefly touched upon, each player uses two different decks when playing, a draw deck and a side deck. First, you need to determine which Guardian you want to use. Let's pick Ichigo. As before, the Guardian determines the side deck. So with Ichigo as our Guardian, our side deck will include 4 Mind Energy, 8 Body Energy, and 8 Spirit Energy. The draw deck, where you draw cards from, will include any combination of characters, items, events, and battlefields, depending on your taste. Keep in mind that you can only have up to 4 copies of any card in your draw deck, unless it is limited, in which case it will say how many copies can be in your deck printed on the card. Just as a side note, your draw deck must have 60 cards and your side deck will always be made up of 20 energy depending on your Guardian, as seen earlier. When preparing to play, place your Guardian in front of you and your side deck nearby. Give your draw deck a good shuffle, let your opponent cut it, and then place it to the side. Decide who goes first, either by rolling a die, flipping a coin, or so on. Finally, draw 5 cards. You may put them on the bottom and draw a new hand of 5 cards, but only once. There are 3 phases of a player's turn before the next player can act. They are the resource step, the main step, and the end step. Easy, right? So let's see what we can do in each one. In the resource step, perform the following actions in order. Renew your depleted cards, which is to turn them from sideways back to an upright position. Draw a card from your draw deck into your hand. Then you may draw either another card or play an energy card from your side deck. And then once again either draw another card or play another energy card. Once these 4 steps are complete, we can move to the main step. This is where all the action takes place. There are a number of things that can be done in this step, and unlike the resource step, they can be done in any order. Your opponent doesn't do any of these during your turn, but may play cards in response to you playing cards or using abilities or effects. You can play a card from your hand, attack with a ready character, or pass the turn. Now let's take a look at them in depth. You can play characters, items, battlefields, or events by depleting energy cards to match its cost. When you deplete an energy card, rotate it to its side so it can't be used again until your next turn. There are some particular details about each type of card and what you can do with them. A character card you just played cannot attack or use any abilities that require it to deplete until your next turn. It can, however, use any abilities that do not require it to deplete at any time. Additionally, you cannot have more than one card of a particular character in play, even if they're different versions. If you want to play a different version, you must pay its cost and then discard the older one before playing the new one. Note, you can have a character card that has the same name as your Guardian. You can have the Ichigo Kurosaki Guardian card, as well as having the Ichigo Ready for Training character card, for example. When you play an item card, there must be a valid character in play to both play it and attach it to. After it is played, it must be attached, that is, to place it underneath the target character card. Most items have effects, and some require depleting to use. Unlike character cards, however, you can deplete an item card for an effect, even if it came into play on the same turn. Battlefield cards generally have an active effect while they're in play, and you can have multiple battlefields in play at once. Finally, events are the wild cards in essence. They can be played almost at any time. This is how we win, by eliminating your opponent's Guardian's energy through combat. First, select one of your active character cards to attack with by selecting which statistic you wish to use and then depleting them. Then your opponent selects one of their characters that has the same statistic to defend with and depletes them. Both players may now discard cards from their hand to boost the chosen statistic, starting with the player whose stat is lower. When both players pass, boosting has finished and you can now compare scores. If the attacker's power is higher, the defender is discarded and the difference in power is inflicted as damage to the opponent's Guardian. If the defender's power is higher, the attacker is discarded but no damage is dealt to the attacker's Guardian. If they have the same power, both attacker and defender are discarded. If your opponent doesn't control a character that has a matching statistic, your attacking character deals damage to your opponent's Guardian equal to the statistic's value. During the attack step, certain events may also be played to change the outcome. Keep in mind you can only discard cards that can boost the chosen statistic, and characters cannot attack on the turn they were played. Finally, you can pass the turn, which takes you to the end step. During the end step, your turn finishes and it is now your opponent's turn. They can now go through their resource and main steps before passing back to you. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my rundown on how to play Bleach. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye.